So real quick, let's talk about a worker search. Now, why in the world do we care? Why do we care about another company's workers? Well, it's important actually. So one of the things we can do is when we do a search for their workers is it can help us determine how big a company's team is. And that typically will lead to letting us know what kind of resources they've used to build the business. You know, if you go and search for a company's workers and you find a whole bunch of, resumes, a whole bunch of listings of their employees, let's say 50 or 100, you know they have a gigantic team of people, and it's probably not a business you want to try to emulate because it took a lot of people to get to where they're at. And so they have really high overhead, and it's just not something you want to do because we talked about cost being one of our core principles. So it's definitely something we need to look at and figure out. But another major benefit for looking and trying to find their workers is we can often find ex-employees or even cheap outsourced workers that did work for them, that helped them build a certain app or a certain software program or service, or helped create a certain info product. Maybe they wrote something for them. And so it's a great way to find someone that already worked in that business that could then work for you. And many times they don't have non-competes or anything like that, as long as they're not reusing their intellectual property. So they could work for you and create something similar that they already have. So let's say they were hired to create an information product as a ghostwriter. Well, they already know that market. They already maybe read several books and learned about the market and then created that info product. So they could easily do it again, just rewriting it and doing it differently, but doing it for you. So it's a great way to possibly find outsource workers that worked for the company that you want to emulate. If you find a company that has really great design, whether it's website design or user interface design, sometimes you can find the designer that created it, and then you can go directly to them and get you to make something similar, whether it's to be in the process of emulating that business that they did work for or for someone else. But this is a great way to find talented workers when you're looking at a business and you're like, wow, I wish I could find the guy that designed that. Well, you can use LinkedIn.com, the big kind of employee search engine, if you will, and you can just search for a competitor's name, put in the company name, and you'll often find all the employees or all the workers that were listed in LinkedIn, for that company. But a lot of outsourced workers, believe it or not, keep LinkedIn profiles, and they'll list the companies that they did work for, even just as a freelancer. So that's a great way, and I've used this technique to find really talented programmers and designers that have worked for some other big companies, where I kind of wanted to know who did their work because I liked their design or I liked some of their like mobile app stuff. So you can do that. Another great way is just to search Google, search the company name plus like the phrase my portfolio, or the company name and the phrase client list, or the company name and just customers. And you can often find that outsourced workers will list their clients on their website, if they did their logo design or website design or mobile app interface design or SaaS interface design. And it's just a great way to find the really talented programmers who work for different companies. So we do care about a worker search. It's something you'll want to kind of put in the mix of all this competitive intelligence that you're learning and make it part of your arsenal. If you're really serious about this is an extra step that you'll want to take to really look into see if you can find people that did or still do work for the company that you're kind of doing your kind of research on.